It was a normal, boring day, without much news. Rimuru, as usual, was sitting at some papers, which were nothing important, but which he filled out very carefully and diligently. After filling out the papers, he stacked them and got up from the desk, then looked out the window. Gee, I've been so busy I didn't realize it was getting dark. I think it might be a good idea to go outside. Rimuru loved quiet, peaceful places, with a gentle breeze, the quiet rustle of the trees, the murmur of the water, where he could think of all sorts of things, dream of the future, reminisce about the past. So, leaving the main building, quietly, so as not to be seen by any of his servants, who decided to take a walk, at such a late hour and unaccompanied, he left the city and went to his favorite place in the forest, a small clearing, where he often went to indulge in the memories of his old life. A life in which he had almost nothing except a successful career. As he walked and sat on a small structure that looked like a chair or some kind of seat, which he had curiously discovered the first time he had come here, he began to think about various things. After an hour of thinking, he was bored out of his mind, and hell was to start infusing magicules into the object he was sitting on. He didn't know where he would end up yet. Some runes began to appear on the stone, and began to glow as they grew all over the structure. He tried to get up, but it was as if he was stuck to the stone. The bright light blinded him. When the light dissipated, Tempest opened his mouth in amazement. Huge concrete buildings, tracks, highways, huge cranes. Cars were driving around, engines rumbling and emitting huge amounts of pollutants into the atmosphere. The only thing he was able to say in his state of shock was, This is my old world. Is this really my old world? Wiping my eyes, I looked again at the tall, modern buildings, the traffic passing by on the highway, the car that at that moment was bearing down on me at high speed. Wait, what? Before I could even think about it, I jumped out of the way, dodging the car's horn and still in shock at what had just happened. Why the hell did I end up here, in the middle of the freeway? Answer: You have abruptly changed your geographical position. In the blink of an eye you have found yourself moved to another place hitherto unknown, something like your old world. Well, I had already noticed it, but why have I moved here? Apparently, the object you got bored of pouring magicules into was some sort of portal, or something like that. Raphael, oddly enough, is looking for information about this world while I look around. Roger that. The search for information about this world has begun. So where do I start? Should I start looking around, or should I ask someone to tell me about this place? No, that would be a stupid decision either way. How do you expect me to approach a person and ask them to tell me about this place? Excuse me please, can you tell me what this place is? It's just that I was in the woods a couple of seconds ago and I started playing with a rock and then I was transported here. Is that it? Answer: You can pretend you forgot how you got here, so you don't remember anything. That's a very good plan. Maybe they'll take me to a police station or something. Approaching a man with hair of a very unnatural color, at least for my world, although I'm not used to it with my long blue hair. Excuse me, can you tell me what this place is? The thing is, I don't remember how I got here. I decided to ask the man in Japanese, since he looked Japanese. How are you feeling? Are you in pain? Do you even remember your name? No, I don't think so. Rimuru. Rimuru Tempest. What an interesting name you have. Do you remember anything else? Do you need help? I could tell from his face how excited he was, as his eyes literally started to burn. What's your quirk? What, quirk? Sorry, I don't remember what it is. I decided to lie. A quirk is an ability that almost 80% of the people on the planet have right now. Quirks started appearing all over the world after I was born. I see what you mean, thank you. I decided to interrupt him, because if he started telling me everything he knows about quirks, I don't think it would be for a couple of minutes, it would probably take half a day or more. So, back to the initial question, what is this city? Well, this city is called Musutafu. Most of the people are Japanese. He started stammering, mumbling something indistinctly. After hearing all his ramblings about the world and the city, I began to think. So, it turns out that this is almost the same world, but here there are people who have some superpowers, which they call quirk. So, You didn't answer the question, what is your quirk? Well, I don't remember. But I have some vague memories. But I still can't figure it out. Can you show me? Okay, I'll show you, but can you take me somewhere to rest? Yeah, okay. I apologize. You have nothing to apologize for. After sitting on the bench for a while, we went to the police station. When we arrived at the police station, I was asked if I remembered any of my relatives or where I lived, to which I replied with a terse, no. Okay. Then we'll have to send you to an orphanage, because you look about 15, and you'll live there until we find out some information about your family. Wait, Midoriya interrupted him. On the way to the police station we had already seen each other like normal people. Can you wait a bit? We'll just wait 5 minutes, then we'll send this girl to an orphanage. I'm actually a boy. That's enough. With joy and some hope in his voice, Izuku exclaimed. 5 minutes later. Rimuru. Anyway, here's the deal. Until you find a permanent place to live, why don't you move in with us until you find a better place to live? Huh. I don't think that's ethical. I'd probably be in the way. No, you wouldn't be in our way. Mom would be happy to help you in this situation. I don't know, moving in with someone you've known for a few minutes is weird. Don't worry, it's fine. She gave me a thumbs up gesture, as if to show me that everything would be fine. But it's still uncomfortable. Well, I can get you in a lot of trouble, so I'm on the fence. Don't worry, we'll solve all the problems together. My green-haired friend replied with a smile. Ah, well then. Okay, I'll move in with you. But not for long. I don't want to be a burden. Yay. Then let's wait a few minutes until Mom comes and gets temporary custody of you. Okay, I gave him a sincere smile, and he beamed with happiness. Hey, why is your blue hair so long? Did you dye it or were you born with it? And that's when I got the answer to my question. Well, it has to do with quirk. My quirk is slime. Slime. Well, I can turn into slime, and in slime I can absorb anything, while gaining abilities and more of what I absorb. Wow, that's great. Can you show me how you become slime? Okay, I don't remember much about it though, so don't be offended. Let's get out of the building for now. So, ready? I asked Izuku, to which I received an affirmative answer and a nod of the head. Alright, let's go. I started to transform, to which I heard Midoriya's shout of surprise. After reincarnating, I jumped into her arms and asked, what do you think? The answer was only silence. She started to try to say something, but the words wouldn't come out, so she just opened her mouth without uttering a single sound. When the shock wore off, he started shouting very loudly about how amazing my quirk was, started asking questions about how it worked, just to demonstrate the abilities he had absorbed from other creatures. Then, he started writing something down in his notebook. Does that mean you can absorb other people's quirks? He asked, taking his eyes off his notebook and looking at me. I don't know yet, but it's worth a try. I smiled angrily as I approached the poor guy. Ha ha ha, you can't be serious, can you? I've already got this quirk with difficulty. He started to walk away from me, but we were interrupted. Izuku, son, is that your friend who lost her memory? I'm actually a boy. Is that so? Yes, Mom, this is the boy I told you about. He's forgotten everything but his name, he doesn't even know about quirk. Oh, you should forget your quirks a little too. But Mom, I can't, I even have my quirks diary, I can't leave it. So, honey, you don't remember anything at all. I'm a kid. Yes, I don't remember anything, sorry for the inconvenience. I bowed to her, crossing my arms. Hey, I haven't done anything special, so you don't need to bow down. You can call me Aunt Inko. She smiled at me, and I felt the warmth I usually feel when I look at my subjects in Tempest. Thank you very much. After arriving at my new friend's house, I started to look around. It's quite a nice and clean house. You can tell that the people living in this house are very hospitable and kind, even the very atmosphere and aura of the house showed it. You have a very nice and clean house, I like it, I said, looking around the house. Yes, my mother and I like cleanliness very much, so we don't leave even a speck of dust and we often clean the house. What about your father, where is he now? After that question, Izuku became somber. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Rimuru was going to comfort him, but Midoriya started to tell him. I haven't seen him since I was born. My mother says he's very handsome and kind, that he helped people a lot. That's why. Rimuru already felt he was on the verge, and if they didn't stop him, he was really going to cry. Look, if it's hard for you to talk, well no, don't bother, I understand everything. I patted him on the shoulder. Well, Izuku, Rimuru, go eat. I already did, I won't take no for an answer. Okay, Mom. Okay, Aunt Inko. After a rather dense lunch, I decided to take a little walk outside, so after saying where I was going, I went for a walk. Although, of course, at first they didn't want to let me go anywhere, because I'd get lost if I didn't remember anything. Yes, although this world is very similar to mine, but still in my old world and this one there are many different things, so I learned from this world much more. After a short walk, I returned home and heard Izu and Aunt Inko talking about a UA academy, so I decided to intervene in the conversation to find out which academy it was. UA Academy. What is it about? Oh, Rimuru, are you here already? This academy trains future heroes who will protect this city and keep it in order. Listen, Rimuru, why don't you join this academy with me? But I don't even have a license, I hesitated. Don't worry, my mother made you an ID when I was at the police station. But still. Come on, don't get down on yourself, especially with a quirk like yours, you'll be a great hero. I saw Izuku's eyes light up again. Okay, I'll try to join. I need more information. First day at the academy and more. Okay, we'll try together. Huh, what's wrong? I don't know how to get back, so I'll try to look for ways like that. Speaking of magicule, there aren't too many here, but there are enough to do some magic. I figured it wouldn't be too hard to get into the academy, so I didn't bother practicing much. I spent the time before the entrance exam lying in bed, taking walks, making some friends at school, and getting close to Izuku and Aunt Inko. Izuku, meanwhile, started training hard while going to school. Ah yes, I was accepted into Izuku's class at school, even though I didn't want to, because deep down I'm an adult who graduated from school so long ago that I don't remember when he left. Well, school is school, so I started studying hard, repeating almost the entire syllabus I had already taken long ago. However, repetition is the mother of learning, isn't it? There were many positive people in my class, but the most positive was a man nicknamed Bombshell. His name was Bakugo. He got that nickname because of his explosive character, because if you made him angry, he would blow up everything around him, literally, because his quirk was related to explosions. The fact is that from the palms of this man's hands, instead of sweat, nitroglycerin is released, which can explode at will. Despite the fact that he was strong and by logic should protect the weak, he insulted and beat many. He has quite a dangerous quirk. Although I think Izuku's quirk would be a tiny bit more dangerous. I saw Midoriya use his quirk on a big rock outside the city. At that time, he, Aunt Inko and I went on a picnic to get away from the hustle and bustle of the city and get some fresh air. Using his quirk, he raised a huge column of dust. When the dust cleared, I saw an empty place where the stone should have been. Then I became cautious and realized that it was not very desirable to come into conflict with this man. I had to be on guard against him. After watching him for a while, I realized that his quirk reminded me of the quirk of the Almighty. The Almighty, if anything, is the #1 hero, people call him the symbol of peace. I heard that after a few years of his heroism, the crime rate in the world dropped to its lowest levels in history. By the way. If my hunch is correct, then. I went to Midoriya's room to clarify the situation. After knocking on the door and hearing, "Come in," I entered, immediately asking the question that had been plaguing me for the past few days. Izuku-kun, why does your quirk remind me of the Almighty's quirk? Are you hiding something from me? Huh? What are you doing? He looked tense. Ha 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 ha, nervous laughter. What is this nonsense? I would never hide something like this from you. What is your connection to the Almighty? I asked in a more serious voice, which made Izuku wince in his chair. Ha ha ha, I can't hide anything from you after all, he said, scratching the back of his neck. He told me everything, from the doctor saying that fate hadn't given him a quirk to the Almighty giving him his quirk to make him the #1 hero and then also passing that torch of responsibility to someone else. Yes, it's been hard on you, but don't worry, I'll come to your rescue in any difficult situation, so call me if you need anything, I smiled, which made him blush oddly and turn away. Speaking of ID, I was handed the passport, everything was correct in it, except for one nuance. I'm a boy, not a girl, why is it necessary to explain it to every first person? Is it because of my long hair? Because of my feminine face? I could change my appearance, but my passport photo is different. I don't think I can explain to anyone why my face is not the same as the one in my passport. Izuku and Aunt Inko would be surprised to see me looking more manly, and I don't think I could stop them from questioning me. The day of the exam. Midoriya, are you nervous? Of course I'm nervous, it's the exam for the best hero academy in the world. How can you not be excited? I'm surprised how calm you are. Izuku said. Actually, I'm pretty nervous too, I just don't show it. I decided to cheer the guy up, although I wasn't really scared, and from what he was saying, I think for me it would be like a normal trip to the store, so I advise you to calm down a bit and do your best to make it this far. Okay, I'll do my best, and don't let me down, he smiled, and it looked like he had calmed down at least a little bit. It was a normal exam, except that we had to go to a special area where we had to destroy robots, and almost all of us did well, but the best were Izuku and me. I came in first place, he came in third, which was also very good. And second place was Katsuki. You should have seen Aunt Inko's face when she saw our results. Huh, who am I talking to? Oh well, it's good to talk to myself too, although looking at me from the outside you'd think I was mentally unstable, and again oh well. First day at the academy. Get up, Rimuru. Do you want to be late for your first day of school? What time is it already? I looked at the clock and was stunned. I'd better get ready. After getting ready, we had lunch together with Izuku and then went to Yue's house. Wow, it's so big. Izuku was amazed, even though it wasn't the first time he had seen the academy. I can't wait to start. I didn't say anything about it, because I was used to Midoriya's surprised look, as she was a very impressionable person by nature, which was not the case with her mother. As we entered the classroom, we were approached by a man with glasses and turbines on his legs, quirk, related to speed. Our teacher was a grim, rather funny guy, who came into class in a sleeping bag and with dark circles under his eyes. It was clear, he hadn't slept well, so he was incapable of any normal contact. Or rather he was, but he was only capable of sending you on your way and nothing more. From his appearance you could tell he didn't care about the people around him, who might think badly of him because of his clothes and his appearance in general. In short, a shady pofigist. That was my first impression. Second impression, a very strict guy who can kick you out for not trying hard enough. And there was no third impression, because he fell asleep and didn't wake up again until the end of the whole lesson. The next lesson we had was the hero everyone least expected to see. Yes, it was the Almighty. That man who was the idol of many, including my friend, who literally had all the walls of his small room bequeathed with his posters, and almost all the bookshelves were filled with his figures, and what to say, even on his computer desk was the Almighty with his heroic smile. Although, it was understandable why Midoriya was not as surprised as the others. This hero, at first impression, was very cheerful and smiling in any difficult situation and came to everyone's aid with the same facial expression. I hope this impression will remain the first and the last. Besides the Almighty, there were many teachers I liked, but almost all of them had some strange habits. There was no point in describing them. I gave some of them nicknames: the always screaming man with headphones, the latex fetishist, the chattering rat, and so on. The first day had gone surprisingly quiet, and nothing in particular had happened either at UA or on the way home, so even now. So I thought. On the way home, we decided to take a shortcut and go down an alley. There, what you expect when you go into a dark alley happened. I was stabbed. I calmly pulled out the knife and twisted the assailant. Why so calm, you ask? I'm a slime. I'm not human, so I don't have feelings like pain. But how to explain that to a guy who, unaware of my true form and all my abilities, saw me stabbed? I quickly covered the wound so he wouldn't see that it was oozing slime instead of blood. Oh my god. Rimuru. Close the wound. Let's go to the doctor. We have to bandage it. Before I could finish, he saw that my wound healed immediately after removing my hand. What? How? Well, it's the effect of my quirk. I used the slime to restore my body to its former state. I decided to lie to him, but why lie? It's mostly true. You didn't feel any pain. Well, I was in a lot of pain, I just didn't show any feeling. I lied to him again, because I can't explain to him why I don't feel pain. So what do we do with this man? I asked to clear things up. Let's drop him off at the police station on the way home. Okay, if anything, talk about how we caught him, but don't talk about how I got stabbed and recovered, okay? Sure, no problem. Oh, and by the way, don't tell your mom I got stabbed either. Huh? Why? Well, I don't think it's a good idea to worry her because she's already worried about our first day of school. Yeah, I guess you're right. Oh, that's great. When we got home, we had dinner and Aunt Inko started asking us about our day. It was nothing special, except that on the way home, when she saw me looking at him, she didn't say anything. Well, it was no big deal. I could tell his mother suspected something, but I decided not to say anything. Yes, by the way, Mom, did you know that the Almighty himself teaches at the school? Wow, this is so unexpected. How about up close? It's so cool, I couldn't even articulate a word, so I was left with my mouth open. Phew, the conversation went back to normal, so I hope there are no questions for me about that incident. Izuku-kun did a good job. After dinner we went to our rooms where we each thought about our things. Pav Izuku, he said he felt pain, but you could tell from his face that he didn't care much, as if he didn't feel any pain. Who the hell is it? Pav Inko. It's weird, that conversation at the table, Izuku was stuttering when he talked about going home. Both of them are missing something. Pav Rimuru. I hope they're not guessing anything. When we woke up in the morning, the two of us and Izuku packed up again and headed for the academy. There we got to know all our classmates better, who, by the way, had quite a few quirks. Everyone in this class seemed to me like normal teenagers with their own nuances. But the one who caught my attention the most was a short boy with grapes on his head. He started hitting on all the girls in the class, including me, and I told him a terrible secret that made him move about 10 feet away from me. I'm a boy, I told him, which he didn't believe at first, but Izuku corrected the situation, so Mineta, as Izuku told me later, got really scared and started apologizing to me. However, he then went to his little briefcase as if it was nothing and pulled out from there. You know what? A magazine with obscene pictures. Midoriya and I tried to convince him to put the magazine down, which he did, muttering about how boring we were. We sparred with each other the training day, and the bomb boy was beyond excited, glaring menacingly at Izuka and snapping his fingers. But his happiness didn't last long. The pairs were announced to fight each other. And the first couple. Yes, it was Bakugo and me. But still, I was also insanely happy, because it's not always the time to kick the best guy's ass in the entrance exams. So I'm standing in front of Bakugo, who gives me very nice compliments, and I'm thinking, what should I do? Fight with all my might? No, that would raise too many questions and suspicions. So, should I pretend to be very weak? Neither, because Midoriya knows how strong I am. Fine, I'll fight with just my hands, almost no magic. What about the sleeping gas? No, because if I overdo it, the consequences will be very bad. Hey, I can't help it, I'll have to fight with my hands at half-quarter strength. As I got into a fighting stance, I prepared to either attack or counterattack Katsuki. The second option would probably be the priority, because his character didn't allow him to attack last. And I was right. Immediately after the command, begin. He rushed at me at a speed too fast for anyone. But not for me. I easily deflected the attack by taking a small step to the side and tripping him. He nearly fell, but brought his arms forward, somersaulted and ran back at me. Die. I heard a piercing scream, to which I just smiled and, dodging all his attacks again, began the offensive. I ran towards him, dodged a direct attack with a blast, rolled between his legs and, grabbing him from behind, threw him on top of me, but, apparently not calculating my strength, I slammed him quite painfully to the ground, at which I heard cries of surprise from all sides. When I got up, I thought I had finished with him, but before I could turn around, he almost kicked me in the face. He's pretty good at spinning, and spectacular to boot. Showing off. Alright, I'm not going to sit on the sidelines either. Dodging all his punches again when he got tired, I grabbed his arm, shouted. Bingo. Then I made a tripping motion hard enough that he couldn't avoid it. His head hit the hard academy floor and he passed out. Everyone started clapping and praising me. Hey, don't you think that was too cruel, even for him? Asked one of the students. Ha ha ha, don't worry, he'll be back here the next day in one piece and unharmed, I laughed, which lifted everyone's spirits. Next, everyone had fights, which I didn't find as spectacular as Bakugo and I did. Izuku had a few quick fights that ended with him winning. His opponent was Shoto Todoroki, son of Hero No. 2 and possessor of the unique quirk Fire and Ice. However, he didn't use fire in this fight, probably because it's dangerous, or for some other reason I don't want to think about. In any case, the fight went like this. Shoto threw a small ice spike at Izuku, which the other repelled with ease, while accidentally hitting Todoroki, incapacitating him. That was even harder than mine. I hope he's okay. I found it strange that I wasn't forced to fight a quirk. After all, this is a hero academy, quirks are important here anyway. Izuku later told me that simple physical strength was also important. And no one said a word to me. So I went home with my curly-haired friend. Well, guys, how was your day? Come on, tell us about it. Aunt Inko asked me while she was putting ramen in the cups. Well, I had a fight with a guy wielding the blast quirk. I defeated him, albeit with difficulty. I decided to embellish, because if I said I didn't try at all during the fight, I would be considered a braggart and a talker. Izuku, on the other hand, had a much easier fight. Yes, the opponent threw a single ice pick at me, I repelled it and accidentally hit him too, knocking him back against the wall and incapacitating him. Hey son, don't you think that's too much? Ha ha ha, almost the same thing happened to Rimuru, just a little softer than me. Their fight was very exciting, by the way. Ah yes, Rimuru, why did you fight with your fists instead of using a quirk? Damn, I already got it. Well, it's just that my quirk isn't very suitable for fighting. That's why I didn't use it. Ah, I see, then. How convenient. After that, the conversation moved on to distracted topics, so after talking for a few more minutes, we went to bed. A day off. Looking for information. Hearing the alarm clock go off, I got out of bed very reluctantly. Yes, today was a day off, however, I still needed to know how to get back to my world. The world I have come to love with all my heart and soul, the world where I am welcome. Shion, Shuna, Sue, Rigard, Milam, Ranga, Hikuro. What's up? By the way, what about Ranga? I can summon him from my shadow, right? And Veldora. Raphael, tell me more about the Magicule in this world. There are wizards in this world, but they are half the size of the world you lived in before. Well, that's understandable, I can feel it too. Is there something else? I asked. Based on the fact that you traveled to this world by using a magical object like a portal, we can judge if there are sources of travel to other worlds. How nice. I'll have to scour the city and the outskirts a couple more times, maybe then I'll find something. What about Veldora? The imprisonment seal has been broken, but you still can't wake him up. Why not? There are many reasons. One is that there is a lack of a vessel for Veldora. Veldora vessel means, I muttered under my breath. Ah, did you say something, Rimuru? He asked when he heard me babbling. No, nothing at all, I was just thinking out loud. Well, I'm thinking that the vessel for Veldora could be made from her own body, but I'm not going to do it here, in this house. One more thing, where is Veldora going to live? Not with us. Even if he is also accepted into the family, which I doubt very much, because it was hard enough to get me in there with my first and last name intact. So I don't think it's worth even thinking about it. So what? Any ideas, Raphael? There are many options, but it would be risky to resurrect Veldora in this world. In what way? Since this world has a low level of magicule, there may be some glitches in the process of transmigrating Veldora into his body, which would make it very difficult to find his soul afterwards. I see, then I have to find a way to return to that world without anyone's help. With these thoughts I said goodbye to everyone, and after telling them where I was going, of course keeping my true purpose hidden, I left the house. What can I say about the neighborhood? The neighborhood doesn't have very tall houses, 2 stories at the most. The street is smooth and there are no cans, bags or other garbage. It is clean. Almost every house has some kind of plant, including a sakura tree that has slowly started to bloom, spreading its leaves all over its branches. When I saw a large building, I realized it was a library. I slowly approached it. What else do we have here? No, not that. Not that again. I've read many books and many different stories about reaching another world. I even got to the point where I accidentally started reading a manga about reaching another world. In that manga, I was hit by a truck and was reborn in another world in a new body with a different name. Typical story, I thought. But that wasn't the case. It drew me in with its plot, which, as it turned out, was not similar to the plots of other hit-and-run manga. Fuck, what was I thinking? I came here to look for information and I end up sitting here reading a manga, how's that? Okay, get a grip Rimuru, we have to keep looking. After spending an hour in this place I realized that all the stories are so trivial and almost none of them are related to mine, and even if they were, it's not a fact that could be true. After all, they are stories. They are fictional stories with only fictions and nothing more. No, I can't collect anything with ordinary stories, I need to read a scientific article, or some record, even science fiction about other worlds works for me. Hello, your name is Rimuru, right? A girl with short pink hair and skin of the same color came up to me. The only thing that caught my attention were the horns on her head, and her rather nice complexion and figure. Yes, I'm Rimuru, can I help you? I asked, trying not to stare at her lush figure. My name is Mina Ishido, I'm in the same UA class as you. Nice to meet you, she said. Nice to meet you too. So you just wanted to meet me? Yes, the truth is that I saw your fight with that explosive boy and I was interested in you, she said, blushing slightly, although I don't know how I noticed her embarrassment despite the color of her skin. What's your quirk? You didn't use it in battle. Well, I have one. I was wondering if I should tell him about my quirk. After all, it would be almost like going around with my fly open, although Izuku told me all about my quirk, so I'll try not to hold anything back. My quirk is slime. As the name already makes clear, I can turn into a slime, and under that guise I can absorb something or someone and adopt their properties, but it doesn't happen with everything. Wow, that's quite a quirk you have. Can you show it to me? He made puppy dog eyes and looked me in the eye. Hey, I guess there's nothing I can do about that. With those words, I transformed. You're so cool, she said, pulling me closer and closer to her, causing me to get more and more embarrassed. If I wasn't a slime, my nose would have been bleeding a long time ago, though. I'm a slime, so I barely felt anything, except a sort of pleasant feeling in my chest. Still, this has to stop or I'll do something stupid. Which one is your quirk, Mina-chan? I asked, stuttering slightly. Can we go without formalities, I want to be friends. Call me Mina, okay. Well, so you asked about my quirk. Yes, I did. My quirk is acid. I can use it to corrode almost every element in Mendeleev's table, but there are exceptions. I can also glide on it like an ice skater and many other things. Wow, your quirk is very useful. Does acid hurt you? Well, not me, but if it stains my clothes. Now I could see his embarrassed face, which made me want to defuse the situation. Do you want to go for a walk? Yes, that would be nice. We went shopping with her, we sat in a cafe, we even got to go to the ice rink. Mina, What am I supposed to do if I? Well, I didn't want to say it because it was too embarrassing. Don't you know how to skate? Oh, you hurt me, I clutched my heart theatrically. Yeah, I really don't know how to ride, I mumbled the last words as I lowered my head. She took my hand and began to teach me. It may seem difficult at first glance, but it's very simple and even easier to learn than you might think. She started teaching me, engaging me in conversation on various distracted topics. Listen, what kind of books were you reading when I approached you? Well, I like different science fiction about other worlds and people who have traveled to them. What a coincidence, I really like those genres too. Maybe we could go read it together later. Triple A. Just the two of us. She giggled and snuggled up against me, and I almost lost it, but stopped myself in time. Well, I guess when I have a good day, I'll give you a call. By the way, what's your number? Or a social network? After exchanging numbers, he asked me, hey, Rimuru, why do you have such long blue hair and a woman's face on top of it? Well, it has to do with my quirk, since I'm a slime, my hair is blue, and it's long because I like it that way. I can't say anything about the face, I was born with it. What are your parents' names? I don't remember my parents. I'm starting to get my mojo back. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. I didn't know, don't be offended, please. He bowed with his arms outstretched. It's okay, I'm used to it, so it's okay, I'm not offended, I said in a slightly sad voice. After the skating rink, I agreed to walk her home. You're quite a nice and handsome guy. Although with a woman's face, of course, she smiled at me. Ha ha, thanks, you're very nice too, I smiled back. Oh, here's my house, it's time to say goodbye, she said, after which I felt a little sad. I'll see you later. The pink-haired girl waved to me. Well, now it's time for me to go home too. I turned around and walked towards the house. Good thing her house wasn't that far from mine. When I returned home, she was as radiant as an angel descending to earth. Hard times. I spent most of the rest of the night sitting on my phone texting with Mina. Rimuru Tempest 3628, hi, how are you? Mina Ishido 6103, hi, I'm fine, how are you? Rimuru Tempest 3628, yeah, not bad either, what are you doing at this hour? Mina Ishido 6103, I'm preparing the outline of last week's topic that Professor Aizawa told us, and have you finished it yet? Rimuru Tempest 3628, damn, I forgot, I'm going to go do it now too, or Aizawa-sensei will definitely wrap me in her ribbons and hang me from a tall building. Mina Ishido 6103, are you afraid of heights? I'm not afraid of heights. I'm afraid of something else. Rimuru's thoughts. Well, actually what I'm most afraid of is Shien's cooking, but right after her comes fear of heights, so she's right. But what is she afraid of? Rimuru Tempest 3628, may I ask you what you're afraid of, if it's not a secret? Mina Ishido 6103, I'm afraid of being alone. Rimuru Tempest 3628, ahahaha, I don't think you'll get it. Mina Ishido 6103, why is that? Rimuru Tempest 3628, because you're the kind of person who gets along with everyone, even the most unsympathetic people. I noticed that from our first meeting. Mina Ishido 6103, that's nice, thank you. Rimuru Tempest 3628, you're welcome. After saying goodbye to Mina, I finished my outline, put everything in my backpack and went to sleep. Waking up in the middle of the night, I went out for a drink. After drinking a glass of water, I tried to go back to sleep, but I couldn't. I decided to take a walk. Trying to be as quiet as possible, I got dressed and went to the door. Rimuru, what are you doing here? I was so scared I almost turned into slime. Why do you have to be so scared? I just don't feel like sleeping, so I decided to go outside to get some air. Why? I can't sleep either. Izuku said in a whisper. Why? I asked in a whisper. Same question for you, he smirked. You know how to answer that kind of question. Then get dressed and I'll meet you outside, okay? No problem, just wait. Standing on the porch, I thought about all sorts of things, including the reason I was awake. A few minutes ago. The dark hallway, the door, the bloody mess, the dead bodies of my entire family, the fear, the panic. It was all in my dream. I feel terrible. What's wrong with them in there? How do I get back there? I have to think of something or I'll go crazy. Hey, Rimuru, I'm done, shall we go? Huh. Yes, yes. Are you feeling alright? You seem a little down. Yeah, I'm fine. I'm almost. Tell me, what happened? I can't tell you. If I tell you, you'll hate me. I promise I won't hate you for anything. Okay, okay. But it'll be a long story. I'll listen to you from beginning to end. Then listen. Once upon a time there was a man who lived in the world. He was no different from others, he had nothing special. He graduated from high school, graduated from college and then started his career. Huh. Are you telling me a story? Listen and don't interrupt. Okay. He was actually doing well in life. But he wasn't satisfied with it. He wanted more. He wanted a private life. He wanted a girlfriend, he wanted everything that normal people his age wanted. So he lived to the age of 37. He had already advanced in his career and was starting to earn a lot of money. One day he went out for a walk in the city with some friends. His partner and junior just got a girlfriend, he wanted to show off. What now? But on that particular day, there was a mugger on the street. He pounced on the man's friend and was about to stab him. And then the man pushed his friend and he was stabbed himself. My God. What happened to him? As he was dying, he saw his friends crying. He knew he was dying, but he didn't care. He knew he was just an ordinary man, like everyone else, there are many people like him. The only thing he did was to tell a friend to destroy his computer, to hide important information. And so he stopped seeing the world. The world for him fell into a void. He heard a strange voice. It was a voice that gave him all kinds of abilities. Abilities. What was it? It gave this man resistance to temperatures, to poisons. It gave him resistance to pain. And to what? After that, the man was on the verge of death. He had already sunk into the void and knew he was going to die. But he did not die. He no longer felt his body, but he didn't die. Why didn't he die? It turns out that he was reborn in a world full of creatures from books and fairy tales, and he was reborn not as a human, but as a slime, who felt nothing, saw nothing, and began to consume everything in his path. But this slime was helped by a great being, the storm dragon Veldora. He taught him to see in slime form, to feel the magicule around him and much more. They soon became friends. Slime learned that the dragon could not leave this place, as it was sealed by a hero who lived 3 centuries ago. To help him, Slime then activated his ability and absorbed Veldora. Then, he activated another ability to examine Veldora's imprisonment seal. And then, this creature with a storm dragon aura came out of the cave where he encountered many different creatures, from goblins to various princes of darkness. This slime devoured a person very dear to her, in order to rest her soul inside her stomach. As strange as it may sound, it took her form. The form of a girl with long black hair, which turned blue as she transformed. Is it me, or are you talking about? The dragon of Veldora gave this creature a new name. Rimuru. But how? Isn't it a story about you? Yes, it's my story. Why didn't you tell it to me before? What happened next? What were you before you were reborn? And for what? I've explained it all to you, it takes a long time to understand. You're joking, right? This is a joke, right? This can't be happening. It's like you came out of a manga. I get it, is this a joke? I'm sorry, I don't get your joke, he smiled awkwardly at me. Believe it or not, it's all completely true. But it turns out, you lied to all of us. You lied to Mom and me, you lied to all the teachers and Principal Nezu, you lied to that pink-haired girl who was going with you. Yes, I lied to everyone. The story I told you is just a fiction and nothing more. I am sorry. I'm leaving. I bowed and started to walk away. It has been more than a week since I left the house where I lived most of my time in this world. You ask me how I've been making a living. Well, I was first hired at a small coffee shop where I worked as a cleaner and then as a waiter. It was a pretty dust-free job, because this place was not very popular and I had the impression that they would soon close it down because of the low number of customers. There was a nice and understanding guy who gave me a small room near where I worked. I ate what people didn't finish and made my own coffee in the coffee shop where I worked and enjoyed it until the next customers came, although that was rare. So I could be considered to be slacking off and barely working. Well, he could have been living on the street to begin with, so it's not the worst-case scenario. That's what I thought. But one day some not very nice people came into our cafeteria. Well, hello, he smiled and greeted me, a strange man with arms all over his body. As I realized, they were prosthetics. He approached our janitor, grabbing him by the shoulder with 4 fingers, which was odd, because he kept the 5th finger as far away from the employee's shoulder as possible. I immediately suspected something strange from the moment he entered the establishment. His aura was too dark. He said, "Nice to meet you, I'm Tamura Shigaraki, I'm a member of the Villain League and I'd like to borrow your premises for a while, we want to set up shop here." Silly Tamura, why did you tell them our whole plan? Very well, now that you have learned what you don't need, you don't have to leave here alive. Said a man shrouded in some kind of purple mist. Ha ha ha, just what I was waiting for, Tamura said and pulled out a creepy smile. What the hell can I do with you? I smiled unkindly. I'll have to beat you up so you won't even move. I smiled much scarier than the man with the hands. They were scared, but they didn't show it. Ahahahaha, well then let's give it a try, princess, he laughed. To say it was easy is not saying anything. I pulled out my katana and was close to him and knocked the Suka down, then I turned and saw Misty coming towards me. I was almost there when I got behind him and wanted to knock him out, but he jumped back and grabbed Tamura and ran into the portal, and the others ran into the portal after them. I didn't really care much about the incident, I've just been preoccupied with thoughts of my world for the past few weeks, but I tried to dismiss them to stay sober in all situations. Yeah, it's been a rough day, I said as I walked back to my room and immediately, with my clothes on, plopped down on the couch and fell asleep. Hard times. Part 2. You left us. You left us alone. You sent us to our death. Yes, you killed us. You are the murderer. You are not Lord Rimuru, you are just a slime who was lucky enough to absorb a dragon and get its aura. Without it, you could have done nothing. You are nothing. You enjoy your days in this world, having fun while we suffer and bear the punishment for your mistakes. Die. 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 And again the hallway, and again the mangled bodies of my subjects, and again the tears in my eyes as I wake up screaming in despair and hopelessness for the umpteenth time. Why? The tears began to well up in my eyes again. I am a fool, I am a fool. Why did I have to go alone? Why didn't I have the sense to ask someone to accompany me? Ah, that's right. I was the one who wanted to be alone with myself. And what could they do when I had already traveled all this way? Silly. Silly. I grabbed my head. How could this happen? Pavizuku. Rimuru hadn't been to UA for about a week. I wanted to go apologize to him and call him. After all, it's not every day you find yourself in a situation like this. Man, I'm so stupid. I should have let him go right away. I was in shock and couldn't believe what Rimuru said. My mother asked about him, she is very worried, she even wanted to apply, but I told her she could wait. I thought, it's too soon, she has to think about it and make some kind of decision. How wrong I was. When I was practicing outside my house, Ishido also came up to me and asked me about him, to which I didn't answer anything coherent except that he hadn't been home all week either. Fuck, where is he now? Okay, it's settled. I'll follow Ishido to UA after school today and look for him. We'll have to go to some neighborhood poorer than ours, he's bound to be there. Pavizuku's ending. Well, since I've been given time off from work today, I'm going for a walk outside the city. I have to find something that could be a portal. It's going to be a long search though. There was a portal in that clearing that I thought was a rock. A rock. There can be portals that look like rocks, and there are a lot of rocks. That's why I've been sitting in the library all week, or walking around the field looking at rocks. If anyone saw me, they would think I was unstable. Today was not good weather. It was raining, there was lightning and thunder. There was enough wind to blow a normal person away without a quirk. But of course, I'm not a human being. So I didn't save the ride for tomorrow. With the weather outside, I feel a kind of sadness again. Sometimes I think I'll never come back, that I'll stay here, alone, without friends, without family, without everything. But I can't get discouraged. Control yourself, Satoru. No, Rimuru. I'm sure I can think of something. I looked at the clock, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon and it's pitch dark. Putting on a dark jacket with a hood, as well as the jeans and sneakers I had only recently bought but had managed to walk around in a couple of times, I left the apartment, remembering to close the door behind me. Pa Izuku. That's brutal. I wasn't expecting this time. I still have to go to the academy. Shall we leave it for tomorrow? No. I'll wait for the rain to calm down and go get Mina and Yue, then we'll go get Rimuru. Mom came up to me. Where are you going, son? Mom asked worriedly. No reason, I'm going to the academy when the rain stops. You can stay home today, the weather is so nice. No, Mom, I don't like to skip school. Be careful, okay? Yes, Mom, I said, keeping the same sad expression on my face. Are you worried about Rimuru? I'm worried too, in case something happens to her. In this short time, I have grown fond of him and accepted him as my own son. What if there are criminals? Don't worry about criminals. Why should I? Remember when he and I came back from the academy, I was going to say something but I quickly changed the subject. Yeah, it seemed weird to me too. Anyway, that day, we were walking around with Yue, talking about various things. We wanted to get home quickly as we were tired, so by unanimous decision we decided to take a shortcut through the alleys. I walked first, with Rimuru following behind. I was about to turn around to say something to him, when suddenly I saw a man running towards him, who had stabbed me with a knife. My God, how had this happened? I was very frightened, but with an indifferent face he grabbed him by the wrist with one hand and twisted it behind his back, while with the other, without any hesitation or concern, he pulled out the knife and threw it aside. I was about to call an ambulance when he asked me, where do we take this man? Yes, just like that. Not caring that he had a hole in his stomach, he simply asked me about the assailant. I got angry with him and was about to yell at him that he wasn't thinking of himself, when suddenly, as I looked at the wound, I saw it literally healing before my eyes. How come, does he have more than one quirk? I don't know. When I asked him, he said it had to do with his quirk, and when I asked him about his calmness, he said it hurt, but he put up with it without showing it. However, it is obvious to the hedgehog that he can't stand it without flinching. That's when I thought, maybe he's not in pain at all. Yes, it is a very confusing situation. I have to find him quickly and question him, however, I am still very worried. It's okay, Mom. I hugged her. She'll be fine. Oh, it stopped raining, bye Mom. I kissed her cheek and left. The end of Izuku's paw. I was walking through the empty streets of the city, thinking about the whole situation, and I didn't notice that the rain had almost stopped and was no longer falling like a bucket but just a little drizzle. It became so quiet. Too quiet especially for the city. It even seemed a little warmer. I smiled. As I took off my hood, I heard a roar. It was coming from a big building. I remember this building. I remember it. It's the building they showed us when we went to visit the academy grounds. It's some kind of the emergency room. I don't remember. It's something like that. I jumped over the building and went through the exit hatch in the roof. What I saw there really shocked me. The academy students were standing behind the number one hero, Almighty. Looking at him, I was shocked and even more frightened. He was covered in blood and it was obvious that he had been beaten quite badly. As I looked at the disciples and the hero first, I didn't notice the one standing in front of them, about 10 meters away. I didn't know those appearance-altering quirks existed. It was some kind of man. Was it even a man? Whose appearance could be described as follows: a tall creature with its brain turned outward and, instead of a nose, a beak like a bird's. Otherwise, it looked like a human, but it was not a human. Otherwise, it looked like a human, and overly inflated. The color of its skin was blue or dark blue, but it was unnatural, even for this world of quirks. I have to help them, but I can tell from the aura that hitting them with half strength is not enough, which means that if I help them by showing real strength, I won't be able to avoid interrogation. Okay, it's too stupid to think about it in this situation, I have to help them. I sprinted, the place where I had come down was big enough to do so. I jumped high, which meant the students and heroes had a clear view of me. Well, whatever, I'll show them my true strength, I smiled contentedly. As I landed, I raised a great dust. Immediately, without delay, I told them to get away from this place. Rimuru, boy. It's dangerous here, run. Uncle Almighty, I know it's dangerous here, that's why I came, quickly move away about 100 meters and protect the children. He started to walk away, although I could tell by the look on his face that he was ready to defend me if anything happened. And it was weird that he believed me, like a 14-year-old girl who doesn't know how to dye her hair blue. But that's not the point. I'm facing a monster that can scare you just by looking at it, but now I was determined and brave enough to ignore it. Let's go. The smile came back on my face, though I tried to control it. Everyone had moved to a more or less safe distance, so it was safe to let my aura out. As soon as I let my aura out, all the students along with that strange man were almost blown away by such a gust of wind. They all turned to me even though they had been told to run away. Ahem, they don't understand anything, oh well, there's nothing to do anymore. I pulled out my katana from my stomach and immediately ignited it with black flames. I also pulled out a pistol that I had borrowed from a criminal once. Bingo! I said, pointing the pistol at him. I pounced on the overpowered one with the pickaxe so that he could barely keep up with me and dodge a bit. After my attack, an arm and a leg flew off. I looked at it and saw that the arm and leg were growing back, but not very fast due to the effects of the fire. Mine would have regenerated much faster. I didn't wait long, so I lunged at him and swung my weapon to hit him, but decided to look at him before he died. That was my mistake. My arms were ripped off as I fell beside him. Rimuru. I heard voices. When they saw the blue substance instead of the usual red blood, they were surprised, and it was clear even without words on their faces. Wow, someone applauded, you've lost your hands and can no longer hold the katana. There's no way you can beat Noma. It was Tamura, and behind him were a dozen other villains looking at me without looking away. Oh, strange man with his hands on his head, I didn't think I'd see him here. Don't call me that. You're in no position to joke, he smiled. Rimuru. Mina and Izuku were about to rush to my aid when they heard a laugh. My laugh. I was laughing because that man with his hands on my face didn't realize how much power I had, he underestimated me so much. Look, I showed him my hands, which had grown back, you think I'm that weak? Haha, I can defeat your bug with my bare hands. I shouted, and then created a powerful spell. Black swirling fire. Along with Nomu, half of the building blew up. Good thing my companions and heroes were in the opposite direction, or they would have a hard time. What the fuck? Tamura's eyes were filled with fear and horror, as well as incomprehension. Kurogiri, create a portal. He shouted with a tremor in his voice. You want to escape, huh? No, I won't allow it this time, or you will cause more harm to those around you. I won't allow it. I grabbed my katana and slashed all the villains, arms and legs at super high speed with a strange soundtrack. Weird, I'll have to look up the name. It happened in less than an instant, so they didn't even have time to realize why they were lying on the ground and couldn't move their arms and legs. And I took Kurogiri alive, sealing his quirk. It wasn't until 5 seconds later that the deafening screams of the villains who couldn't move and were very scared could be heard. When I turned to the students, I saw fear in their eyes and nothing else. I realized they would not accept me, so I approached the Almighty. The villains are fine, I cast spells on them that slowly regenerate tissue, so they won't die. The rest is up to you. Having said that, I turned to my students, I'm sorry for scaring you. Goodbye, I bowed. Spells, isn't that quirk? I heard the other heroes mutter. Since there was no longer any point in holding back in front of them, I ran off. Although it probably seemed to them that I disappeared from where I was a second ago, leaving behind a huge column of dust. Rimuru. I heard the distant shouts of Izuku and Min. I wish I could see them and talk to them. What I've done is likely to be on the news, so I can't show my face at work, and what's more, I can't even go to the apartment I've been living in for the last week. Phew, now I'll have to change my appearance and name, and find another job. The denouement. The denouement. The beginning of the most interesting part. It's only been 5 minutes since I walked out of that building, and I'm already pretty pissed off because now I'm homeless and friendless again. It's a familiar situation. After all, when I came into this world, I lost my friends and my subjects in exactly the same way. I always found a way out of situations. Whatever the situation was, I kept my cool, my balance. And one more thing. I have never used such brutal methods against people. What happened to me? Almost without thinking I ran at them and cut off all their limbs. So disgusting that it makes me want to vomit. I've never done anything reckless before. Shit, I'm getting nervous again. I have to push these thoughts away or I won't be able to live in this world. I hope I can get home in time to get my stuff, because whatever was going on in that building was being filmed live, which means I have 5 minutes to spare. Shit. Then we have to hurry. I ran as fast as I could and within a couple of minutes I was home, if you can call it that. I started packing all the essentials. Okay, money, there's nothing left, only 8,000 yen. Bummer. What about clothes? Well, I have a backpack, so you can still fit some clothes in. Specifically, I bought a large hiking backpack to carry them better. Food, water. I can do without all that, but something tells me I should bring it. So what do we have here? I started rummaging through the fridge, which was almost empty, because I didn't have much money, and even if I had a lot, I wouldn't buy enough to fill it all. I'm a slime, which means I eat food for pure pleasure. It's been a long time living as a slime and that thought still makes me ache and resent it. After grabbing a couple of cans and some bottles of water, I heard a knock at the door. Rimuru, open up, please. We know you're here. Fuck. How did you know where I live? Please, Rimuru, let us help you. Izuku and Mina shouted, banging hard on the door. So, what do we do now? They might attract new people with their knocking. Maybe we should let them in. I walked up to the door and opened it. My only friends burst in. Rimuru, are you alright? Why are you possessing? Alright, let's get down to business. First question, why are you here? I asked in a calm and intimidating voice. Well, we want to help you. Second question, how did you find me? I asked in the same voice. Well, we followed you. Although you were so fast that we lost sight of you at first, but then we found you. Third question, why do you want to help me? What do you mean, why? We're your friends, and friends are supposed to help each other. Izuku said. Friends are friends to help each other in difficult situations. Mina continued. We shouldn't be friends, because when I go to my world, we won't see each other again. I'm the kind of person, slime, who will be very sad if it's time to say goodbye. Tears came out of my eyes. I can't do this. I can't, it's too hard for me. You can't imagine what it's like to contain your true powers every day to keep your aura under control so you don't accidentally destroy something. Everything was fine in my world. So why did you answer me? I'm sorry, I have to go, soon heroes and other people will come to this place and disturb me, so. I'm sorry, and go away. Wait, how are you going to hide? With your looks, you really stand out from the others. Appearance means. I'll show you how I'll hide. My appearance began to change before his eyes. My hair got shorter and changed shape. It was braided into a small, 3-croissant braid at the top. My height increased from 150 centimeters to 175, and my physique became more muscular, although I was still a burly guy, which is worth looking for. My face became more masculine, and there was no trace of feminine features. My voice had also changed a bit, it had also become more masculine. In fact, I based my appearance on a manga with beefy men, but I don't remember the name of the manga. Something about Joe, but I don't remember the rest. My friends were very surprised by my transformation and were left with their mouths hanging open, which made me laugh and the sadness went away. Ahahaha, why are you guys so surprised? Have you never seen an ordinary man? Mother of my wife. Mina blushed again. My father is a man. How so? Asked Midoriya, can you tell me more about your skills? There's no time for that, more people will be coming soon, so I have to go. I wouldn't advise you to stick around either. Wait, where are you going? Tell us, we won't tell anyone. I'm going out of town to find my way back to my world. Now, goodbye, I bowed and started to leave when I saw a strange man behind Izuku and Min. Look out. I pushed them away and stood in their place. Run. We won't leave you. They started to protest, but I interrupted them. Run and help the villagers to protect themselves from the destruction that will be here in a few minutes. All right, but if anything happens, call me. I knew for sure about the destruction, because when I saw this man's aura, it scared me how dirty it was. You know, you can tell what type of personality a person has by their aura. Usually, people with an aura like that have the same dirty, black personality. I was a little upset. His aura was bigger than Nomu's, which meant he was much stronger than that weird guy. Who are you? I asked. Me. Wow, you don't know me. You trashed all my guys and you don't even know me. I'm in charge of the villains league. I'm all for one. He began to shout. I noticed how the villagers ran at the scream, and worse. The heroes I had evaded only 10 minutes ago. Almighty, 13, Eraserhead, Midnight. Man, why do I have such bad luck? Oh, I said it out loud. Well, there's no point in hiding my face. With that in mind, I turned around. Oh, shit. What are you mumbling about? Hearing me, All for One asked. What are you doing here? Ignoring his question, I asked. Ha ha ha, how hard is it for you to guess? You've chopped up my friends and you intend to get away with it. I won't forgive you, you may cause me a lot of trouble in the future. With those words, he ran towards me. I was able to follow his movements and dodge him. Hey, you're not that easy. I already thought it was my pawns that were weak, but they actually got a strong opponent. Never mind, you're still no match for me. With these words, he prepared some kind of device and directed it towards me. What is it? It's a device that takes away people's quirks. I'll take away all your quirks. He shouted as if he had read my mind. He pointed his thing at me and fired. The projectile hit the target. I didn't say anything. I didn't do anything. I was trying to control it. However, she got in my face again. A smile that scared even such a powerful villain. Why are you smiling? I've taken away all your quirks. Even you with your physical parameters can't face me without quirks. I didn't say anything. I just laughed again. That laugh was even louder than the last time. I couldn't stop, and when I did, I looked at All for One and asked a question that made the eyes of everyone around me literally pop. Who told you that I am human? What makes you think I am human? I am a creature that you in your world consider myths and fairy tales. Something you never believe in. I am Rimuru Tempest, King of Tempest and true lord of all demons. You can't reach my power even if you train all your life. Anyway, I'm different from all your previous opponents, so be very careful if you don't want the fight to end instantly. I got into the minds of all the heroes and disciples and told them to get out of here and take all the inhabitants as far away from this place as possible. I didn't care about the city, nor the fact that many people would lose their houses, their homes. All I wanted now was to return to my world with my friends. Finally. I don't have to hold back, I don't have to hold back. I let out an absolute aura. All the surrounding buildings blew up. All for One couldn't stand up under the pressure of my power and fell to its knees. That was what I thought. However, as soon as I approached him, he got up and punched me as hard as he could. He ripped half of my body off. I felt the full power of this man in one blow. Shit. There are very few magical items in this world to repair that much damage quickly. I'm going to have to lie down for 5 minutes without moving. I don't think they'll give me that much time, though. Shit, am I dead? What a stupid death. All for One started walking towards me, but stopped for some reason. Looking at the place where his gaze was directed, I was stunned and shocked. Deku and Mina attacked him as hard as they could, knowing they couldn't handle him. They're protecting me. Why? That was the only question on my mind. Because we are your friends, I remembered Min's phrase. Looking at me, I saw that my body was almost recovered. Faster. Faster. I have to save my friends who are now fighting, distracting the All for One from me. From me. That creature who thinks he is the greatest, when in truth he is as pathetic as ever. I will never underestimate people again, ever. When I came into this world, I thought too much of myself and started treating everyone with disrespect. I started putting myself above others. I thought I was the strongest one here, when in reality there are ordinary people who are stronger than me. I am more. I'll never underestimate people again. I muttered, getting to my feet. Thanks for opening my eyes, guys. I smiled at them with my kindest and most sincere smile, which had just the right amount of emotion. You can rest now, I'll take care of this villain, I said with my calmest voice. Let's go punch faces, Raphael. Bingo. Fighting All for One, the arrival of old friends. Heh, you really had me there, All for One. However, not enough to kill me. Another Prince of Darkness would be on the sidelines somewhere. I don't like these long fights, so let's get this over with quickly, shall we? Yeah, let's make it quick, I'll kill you and my troubles won't be interrupted. Ha 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 ha, let's see who kills who. Tempest City, Jura Forest. The Great One. Lord Rimuru. Great Rimuru. Damn it, we'll never find him, I'm really worried about Rimuru, said Benimaru, his hands already lowered. I don't think we'll find him. Don't say that. We'll find Great Rimuru and ask him why he left without saying anything. Oh, I have an idea. I used to follow Lord Rimuru around sometimes. And once I saw him going to a clearing, maybe we can find something there. You've been following Rimuru. Followed Rimuru. Yes. But that's not what you. Shuna was starting to blush. Good for you. You, unlike us, guessed that this could happen, and that's why you followed him. Who would have thought you'd be so smart? The redhead interrupted her. Well, I didn't follow him because of that. But about the last sentence you said. Everyone felt a strong pressure in the air. Wait, you got it wrong. Rimuru's other subjects started to excuse themselves. Then please deign to explain so that I understand, okay. Why yes. The Almighty and his disciples were watching me, an ordinary student, fight against a very powerful villain. I wonder if I can win. This is not the time for such questions, but I think I can. I'm not as weak as he thinks, it's time to show him all my power. So, to defeat him, I need to think, I need to analyze his fighting style, his tactics, and if possible, the quirks he possesses. And so, he began to approach me with slow steps, to which I became quite suspicious. Why is he walking so slowly? Is the suit in the way? Okay, I won't underestimate him this time. I started with a simple, sedative gas. No effect. Then maybe. I turned into a snake and tried to defeat him with paralyzing breath. Then I used poison breath, water blade, fireball, all almost didn't work. He blocked it with his quirk, which creates a small barrier that wraps around his body and prevents any physical attacks from acting on him. Shish, very few magicules. I should get help. I don't think he can take that much, Mina muttered. No, it's his fight, I think he should finish it himself. But. No buts. Just watch. A couple more spells still didn't do him any significant damage. No, Raphael, help me, can you tell me how to get out of this situation? Answer: as the Storm Dragon's imprisonment seal is almost broken, his magicule can come in contact and fuse with yours, making the magic stronger, but you can make the dragon's magicule come out without coming in contact with your elements, which by fusing with them makes the dragon's pure energy dirtier and much weaker than it really is. Are you kidding me? Why didn't you tell me this? You didn't ask. Yeah, how do I do that? Answer: well, for starters, try to feel your magicule in your body and recognize anything that doesn't fit into your magical power flow. Well, let's see if I can do anything about that. Having shielded myself with several spells to protect myself from the villain, as well as casting over 40 sealing spells on him, I started trying to sense something strange in my power. It worked almost immediately. I felt something strong and powerful compared to my magical power, which was not even close to Veldora's. Well, I did it, now what? Try to displace that energy from yours by concentrating on the power flow. Wow, that's not so easy. Okay, I'll give it a try. After a couple or 3 failed attempts, I managed to displace it. But keeping it at bay and keeping it away from my magicule is difficult, so Raphael, what's next? Gently drive this current through your body, and let it out through your arm. Hey, this is going to be fun. With those words, I spread it throughout my body and released the pure energy of the Veldora Storm Dragon, channeling it into All for One. Everyone felt an overwhelming aura in an instant. What kind of power is this? Where did you get it from? Ha, I borrowed it from my friend. Why? It's a power comparable to that of a dragon. Where did you get that power? How did a pathetic creature like you get that kind of power? Pathetic, huh? Let's see who's pathetic. I channeled its energy into the villain. It exploded. A big cloud of dust. People screaming. Damn, the energy is too strong, I can't take it anymore. With those words, I started to fall. But I was picked up by the Almighty, and before I could fall, he said, "You did well, boy, I have nothing more to say." Rimuru. The other teachers and students ran towards me, including Izuku and Mina. Don't worry, Rimuru, everything will be fine. Yes, we'll help you. Out of the way. Out of the way. Make way. Great Rimuru. I opened my eyes. Such familiar voices. When the source of the voice came to me, I was stunned. My eyes filled with tears. There stood 2 of my subjects. Benimaru and Shuna. Who is it, Rimuru? Izuku asked. Yes, Rimuru, who is it? Supported Mina, with a strange look at Shuna. It's Oni. I don't believe it, I said, not having listened to her questions. Rimuru-san. They ran towards me. Am I dead again? Man, that's weird. What do you mean, again? Who is that girl? Mina kept asking. We were sitting at the academy discussing a recent incident. So, you 3 are from another world. Yes, that's right, we are from another world. That explains why you have such immense power and so many quirks. By the way, Benimaru, Shuna, how did you get here? Well, we started looking for you, after which Shuna. Benimaru started talking. Then we stumbled upon a clearing, in the middle of which there was a teleporting stone, and we, after pouring magicules into it, moved here. Shutting her mouth, the red-haired Shuna nodded, smiling quizzically. So, how did you find me in the city? Well, it was actually quite difficult to find you. At first, because after a while of searching, we sensed a great power coming from this place. We ran towards the source of the power, which was getting stronger and stronger, and that's how we found you. I see. What is going to happen to us now? I turned to Director Nezu. It's actually quite a controversial topic, as you have made a lot of noise in the news and in many media, so you are currently wanted by a large number of police officers for arrest and interrogation. But on the other hand, you saved our students and our academy from a terrible disaster, the villain All for One, who could defeat even the symbol of peace, the Almighty. For that we are truly grateful to you. Still, we must think about what we should do next. Yes, I don't think we'll get off that easy either. To begin with, you will be placed in the academy dormitory, you will be able to study at the academy, and for that, it is better to change your appearance, as there might be questions among the people. Damn, this is so confusing. Wow, they're giving us rooms. I'm asking to sleep with Grand Rimuru. Man, you don't know how to interpret the situation, Shuna. Benimaru shouted. It's like sleeping with Rimuru. Mina blushed for some reason, and yes, why are they addressing you as a king or some important person? Because the great Rimuru is the ruler of Tempest, the great city that will prosper for centuries and millennia, as well as. She started to explain herself, but I interrupted her. All right, Shuna, enough blabbering, please. Yes, Lord Rimuru. During your stay here, call me Rimuru, okay? It's weird for you to call me, you, in front of everyone. And you, Benimaru, I suggest you do the same with Shuna. All right, our Rimuru. Yes, sir. I mean Rimuru. My goodness, what good fortune has come to me. Getting out of the situation. Meeting new people. When I woke up this morning, I found myself not in bed but on the floor. What? Oh, great Rimuru, have you woken up already? Shuna got out of bed. I immediately blushed, causing my minion to look at me strangely. Huh? What's wrong, why are you in my bed? I thought it was extremely strange. Oh, Rimuru, stop making noise, my head hurts already. Behind Shuna. Mina got up, looking the same. What's going on here? I looked at myself. I was horrified. I was half naked. Oh, that means they didn't get to me. Phew. Wait, it's not, phew. What do you do in a situation like that? Run. I answered my own question. Great Rimuru, did you say something? Shuna asked, turning to me, or rather to the place where I was a few moments ago. Great Rimuru. Great Rimuru. Shouted the girls behind me. How did this happen? Well, we have to remember what happened last night. After looking around the dorm, we went room by room. And I absolutely remember going to bed alone. So, they came to me at night. But I'm a light sleeper. Surely I would have heard them open the door. So how did they do it without making a sound? While I was thinking, I hid in the kitchen, in the cupboard where the dishes are. Ah, it's good to be a slime, you can get into places where a normal person can't get in. Ha, 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 I'm a genius, I smiled to myself. The great Rimuru. I held my breath, where are you? It was Shuna. I looked and saw her walking near my seat through the gap between the doors. Please don't let her find me. Please don't let her find me. Ah, I sighed as I saw Shuna coming out of the kitchen. We have to get out of here. I slowly opened the door and stepped out. Turning back into a human, I looked around for my stalker. With a satisfied look on my face, I walked out of the kitchen and then. Oh, Rimuru, there you are. Ah. I jumped out of bed, after which I looked around. Just a dream. Hee, it's just a dream. I've never been played such a cruel joke. How nice. What happened? Benimaru ran in. Wait, I was closing the room. It's nothing, I just had a strange dream. Shit, it's only morning and I'm not in the mood. I went to the bathroom, then looked at myself. I said to myself. I washed my face, brushed my teeth, brushed my hair and tied it in my usual ponytail, with a loose lock. After going to the bathroom, I looked in my closet and put on some pretty nice clothes, which consisted of an oversized black t-shirt, the same black joggers and the same dark-colored sneakers. For some reason I got used to wearing black clothes, so I wouldn't stand out too much. Yes. With my blue hair. I think I'll need a low-profile hair for a walk. How about brown? Yeah, I think that would be perfect. I left the room and headed straight for the exit. There, near the kitchen, I checked on my subjects, as well as the other students at the academy. Good morning, guys. I walked in greeting them, which caught the attention of the students, and also caught the interest of some dunce. Who the hell are you? One of them asked me. It was Bakugo. Yeah, that piece of shit couldn't recognize someone who had given him a couple of beatings in UA's training, and I hadn't changed my face, so that only meant one thing. Are you going senile? What, are you crazy, stupid? Unlike you, I'm not, I said, walking up to him and giving him a hard stare. Know your place, wimp, I said, smiling at him. What the fuck? That's it, you're finished. He spun around and was about to strike, but I acted quickly and, reflexively. I kicked him in the face, knocking him unconscious. I'm sorry, but I don't like people like you are too noisy. All the students looked at me with a smile and a hint of pride. Sir, I mean Rimuru. Have you rested well? You look cheerful today, did you have a good sleep? Yes. A dream. I muttered, looking at Mina and Shuna and immediately turned red. I'm going for a walk, anyone want to come with me? I asked, standing by the door. In front of them, I changed my face to a more masculine one and changed my hair color to black. Wow, what was that? Asked a red-haired boy sticking out in different directions. It was Kirishima. It was a simple change of appearance, I didn't do anything that cool. Wow, this is amazing! Exclaimed the red rebel. Yes, we can go. Izuku ignored my question and Mina nodded in support. Yes, we're leaving. Shuna and Benimaru shouted at the same time. Okay, but about you, Shuna, Benimaru, I don't know what to do, can you change your appearance? Well, we can dye your hair. Huh, well, I'll take care of the appearance. Can we come out? We're the wanted who wreaked havoc in the city, Benimaru asked me before leaving. Yes, you heard right, they accuse us of something we have not done. I wonder how this government can continue to lie to the people so blatantly. Those imbeciles only care about themselves. I defeated the bad guy, and they find me guilty. It's a shame. Don't worry, we'll just hang out on the academy grounds, so it's no big deal, I smiled. The 5 of us walked out of the dorm. The morning air was sobering and gave us a chance to think about the situation we were in. Now we all know what trouble we've gotten ourselves into, and it's no joke, because we're now wanted all over town for urban disturbance, and there's also a small squad of police officers hanging around UA's territory right now. Don't ask how they let them in, they simply threatened Principal Nezu with shutting down the institution in question. Ha 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 ha, that's a threatening statement, although I have no idea how they will do it. We need to figure out what we can do next, I said in a serious voice, we need to find a private place where we can discuss it. We went to a nearby coffee shop, why not? The buffet is small, but there are chairs and tables nearby, covered with large umbrellas from the unbearable heat. I don't have to be afraid of the heat. I'm not afraid of it. And there is almost no one at this buffet, according to Izuku and Mina. As we approached this little carriage, we were given a bun each. They also gave us something to drink. Izuku and Benimaru had a cold lemonade, while I had a small vanilla-flavored milkshake with the girls. Ah, what happiness! Izuku said, sitting down next to Benimaru and quietly sipping his lemonade. Yes, I think so too, said the redhead. You can't argue. I began to think. I can't stay here too long, because if I look suspicious to any policeman, I'll be in trouble. Then I'd have to come up with a plan. Change my name, my surname, my place of residence, my place of birth can be anyone, as long as I don't make stupid mistakes. That's it, now the main goal for me, to make new documents, but officially it won't be possible to do it, that trick with forgetting absolutely everything except the name most likely won't work. Who can I turn to for making unofficial documents? I think I have to consult with my friends. Do you know where I can get new identity documents? Huh, what are you talking about, like a passport, birth certificate and so on? Midoriya asked me. Well, yeah, I guess I'd have to hide behind a different face, name and surname all the time, or I'd be found out right away. So, maybe we should ask some guys in the alleys. Benimaru asked. How do you know about them? Well, when we first moved here, we were approached by some people who asked us to give them dough. When I asked them, what's that? They got angry for some reason and started attacking me. They were weak, so I took them out with no trouble and asked them for help to find the great Rimuru, to which they told me they had no idea who he was, and advised me to go to their boss, who was in the business of making false documents and maybe he knew this man if he made papers for him. So I wanted to go to him, but I felt a sudden surge of energy and without thinking I ran along with Shuna to the source of the surge. But those guys are still out there, helping the poor and demanding dough for it. They look like common criminals to me. Izuku said. Well, we don't have much time, so we have to look for any effective way. And this is one of them. If we make a deal with their leader, we'll increase our chances of escape. But that's dangerous. What will you do if you get caught by those criminals? Ha ha, I'm not helpless enough to lose to common criminals. Well, let's go then. I'm tired of looking for them, it must be their day off, so they won't come out. What do we do? Benimaru asked with tears in his eyes. Don't panic, we will find them no matter what it takes. I said, looking confidently into the distance. The wind was ruffling my hair, and I. Shall we go back home? Benimaru asked stupidly. Damn, I've spoiled the moment. Yeah, that's tough. What's the matter with you? I'm trying to help, he said offended. We'll find them, don't worry. I patted Benimaru on the shoulder. Yes, I hear you, Rimuru. Why are you shouting? A hoarse and disrespectful voice asked. Out of the corner came a man with a thin but not weak build. Who are you? Your friendly neighbor Spider-Man. Why? This is no time for jokes, least of all such stupid ones, I said, getting more and more annoyed. Okay. I hear you need a man. I can help you, for a price, of course, he smiled contentedly. What's the price? Izuku asked. You help me and I help you, that's the deal. Not a bad deal, is it? What do you need help with? Guys, can you push the car, please? It's stuck in a little hole. Really? Let's be serious. I was just about to walk over and punch that joker in the face. Okay, I couldn't resist, sorry, he said with a smile. What's your name? My name is Ryu, he approached me, holding out his hand. Rimuru, nice to meet you, I shook his hand. Nice to meet you too. Getting out of the situation. Meeting new people. Part 2. What do we do? How do we get them? I asked the black-haired man as I walked through the narrow streets. Well, as you may have noticed, my boss has a business creating fake documents. That's why we're heading to him right now, replied my new acquaintance, named Ryu. I don't know my friends, but I still don't trust this man. He appeared too suddenly and offered his help too suddenly, but who knows? Where does he do all this stuff? I asked a little cautiously. You can't know, so now I'm going to deprive you of the view for a while. And when you talk to the boss, I'll remove this restriction. What do you mean, remove your eyesight? I asked, starting to worry about my body, though not my main body. Ha, what are you so afraid of? He asked us, the answer to which was the most obvious. You fool. Are you so stupid that you seriously don't know why we feel so uncomfortable? Benimaru was furious, and how can you take away our ability to see? He said in a calmer voice. Well, you see, Ryu began to answer the question, not even paying attention to the insults my slightly dumb subordinate had said earlier. My quirk has to do with this. Although I shouldn't tell my quirk to the first person I meet. That's stupid, and only an unintelligent person would do that. And at those words, I took great offense. I touched a nerve. Well, that's not the point. The main thing is that, in addition to sight, I have the ability of touch, which means that, even if I wildly want to not see the road, I still can't turn off the ability. Unfortunately, Raphael can't do that. You guys should stay here. Rimuru, what are you doing? We're with you. We won't leave you alone. I can't put you in danger. It's our decision, so you can't question it. They immediately put an end to the discussion. TZ, it's okay, stay close to me and stay out of my way. However, I have the same fear for my friends, that they might lose their sight forever, so I've decided to tell you something so that you won't think of cheating us. I hope you won't hurt them, I pointed to the people around me, because if you do, I'll have to eliminate you. But don't think you'll die quickly, I'll torture you until you ask me to kill you. I made a terrifying grimace that made Ryu's face sweat. But that will only happen if you try to hurt them, I said with a calm face. Don't worry, I won't, don't be so scary. But you mustn't see him, because if he finds out, he'll kill me. He'll squash me like a gnat, or squash me like a bug, or... Okay, I hear what you mean, I muttered, not wanting to waste time with talk about what would happen to him if he didn't use his quirk before leading us to him. But I still see where we're going. In fact, I find it quite useful to know the location of his boss, in case he's useful to us. I won't tell him I can see without my eyes, in case he thinks of anything else. After removing our ability to see by touching our eyelashes, he led us through the alleys, around small buildings and brought us to a small building with some kind of sign on it. So this is the kind of building they have. I thought it was going to be a big new building. But it's impossible. It's an unofficial organization, so they won't even get money, and I'm talking about a huge building. After entering the building, we turned right, to an inconspicuous staircase that led to the basement or catacombs. But my expectations were not met, which was good, because I didn't want us to be talking in a gloomy atmosphere. We found ourselves in a small room, with chairs along the walls and a table with a nice, solid armchair in front of it, where a guy with a mustache was sitting. To one side was a pool table with a bunch of stuff needed for the game. He approached the table and bowed, then shouted, "Greetings, boss." I bought you. Before he could finish, he got slapped, and I can guess why. Don't yell like that, you brainless man. If you do it again, I'll hang you. But he yells too. Yeah, boss, sorry, he said quietly, rubbing his bruised spot. So who do we have here? He asked in a calmer voice. How quickly his mood changes. These are the people who want to use your services. Rimuru, nice to meet you. Oh, is this the Rimuru who made a lot of noise outside the emergency building? You must be strong, kid, he smirked. But I'm not going to play the honor game. I'm not going to take any money from you. Do some jobs for me and we'll call it even. We'll make a deal. No dirty, dusty jobs, or I'll back out of the deal. Well, then I don't really need you. No, there's one thing you can do. I swallowed a lump in my throat. What's the mission? I asked, trying not to show my excitement. This assignment will be very difficult. Your assignment? Come on, don't drag it out. Speak now. You have to bring me a volume of Naruto manga. But it's not just any volume, it's an extra volume that you can't find everywhere. He smiled satisfied. It's a real otaku, which is pretty good, because it's not a dusty task, so it shouldn't be too hard to complete. I guess. And that extra volume of yours, I probably have it. I can bring it to you, Izuku said suddenly. It's my savior. Time skipped 30 minutes. Here it is, here you go please. He handed Midoriya this book. Ho ho ho, she started laughing, and you must have guts. Do you like Naruto manga too? Yes, I love that manga. I've read it about 10 times. Ahem, since you've done your part, it's time for me to do mine. Well, let's get started. Walking with Mina. Part 1. Ahem, your papers are done, I've held up my end of the bargain, and we can part ways. Yes, she did the papers, and not just for me. He also did them for Benimaru and Shuna. However, I would not mind having his help again. It would be very beneficial for all of us to work together and get back together. You don't mind. What's in it for us? I didn't want to cross paths with those people again, it would only make things worse for me. The benefit is that my people and I will give you access to police information and all available cases. You're a wanted man now, aren't you? I don't really need it, because we are strangers, so there is no point in trusting you and believing your information, and I won't be in this world for long, I said as my friends and I started to leave the building. Ryu led us back. I pulled out my now new ID from under my arm. Okay, passport. The place and date of registration have been slightly changed. My date of birth has also been corrected to a slightly earlier date. My name is now Toru Sugimoto. 17 years old, no place of birth. And my god, I'm finally a man. Now my passport matches my already masculine appearance. I hope they don't turn us into the police, it scares the hell out of me. Ah, well, I've given your subordinate quite a scare, so I guess you'll tell him not to do it. Yeah, well, a lot has happened while I've been here. I've made a lot of friends, seen a lot of life situations that have not infrequently involved me as well. My desire to find a way out of this world has diminished a bit. But I know there are still a lot of people waiting for me. Well, if you can call them that. They are beast men. My thoughts made me smile. Rimuru. Shuna asked, puzzled. Is everything all right? Yes, of course, I said and smiled even more, which earned me some strange looks from my friends. We need to figure out what to do next. Since it looks like we're going to be stuck here for quite some time, we need to, get a job. Some kind of cheap part-time job, like the one I had before I ran into All for One. It just requires basic ID, so they won't ask me what school I went to or anything like that. Or maybe start playing in casinos and stuff. No, I think we'd lose the rest of the money. That's not what it's about. I don't think anyone is going to feed us at the academy. Well, they probably will, but my pride won't let me stay there long enough to eat food that's only for students, which means we need a place to live. And not a small one-bedroom apartment without a bathtub, but a normal-sized 3-bedroom apartment that can fit 3 people. And fuck. Even here we need documents. What to do? Well, actually there are some apartments that don't need this kind of papers. Although there are not many of them and they are not reliable. Well, who cares, we'll look for it. I hope we won't die of starvation or by the paws of a rat that will live in the basement of our house. Wow, I'm paranoid again. When I got to the dormitory, the first thing I was going to do was to go rest in my room, but I was stopped by the voice of my new friend, Mina Ishido. I could tell by her appearance that she was worried about something, and when I shifted my gaze to her, she blushed and looked away for some unclear reason. Although I have a guess as to what it might be about, I hope it's not what I think it is. Rimuru. We need to talk. I'd better pretend I don't know what it's about. Mina. What is it about? Why do we have to talk? I tried to look naive to see how she would react. First she looked around, then panicked when she saw that many eyes were on them. Well, something like this. Okay, it's nothing. We'll talk later. Her face had already turned completely red and she ran off very quickly, eliciting laughter from the others in the dorm. Damn, I feel terrible. I've been such an asshole. I shouldn't have done that to her. I should have gone and apologized to him. I was more confident on our first date, if you can call it that. Hey, Mina, I said her name as I approached her. You needed to talk face to face and I drew too much attention to myself with my stupid questions. I apologize, I bowed to her. Well, actually it was my fault for approaching you in such a public place, so you have nothing to apologize for, although I'm still a little offended. Oh well, you can make a wish for me and I'll grant it to make it up to you. 3 wishes. 3 wishes, she murmured in a whisper. Wow, she sure knows how to persuade. So ready to risk getting more wishes. Okay, there's nothing I can do now. I gave her the most sincere smile I could squeeze out. Ha, Ishido started laughing evilly, and I regretted letting him make a wish. Okay, then your allowance. I swallowed the lump that had grown in my throat from excitement. It was strange, nothing like this had ever happened to me before. I communicated with everyone openly confident. Something was happening to me. Your assignment. Come out with me, she said and responded to my smile, trying to stay calm and not show her excitement or embarrassment, but what the pink-haired girl was trying to hide in her voice, I could read in Mina's face. What, are you serious? I was surprised, although I was already expecting something like that. Don't think I'm not that conceited, it's just that this kind of behavior is understandable and suggestive. In fact, I was already thinking that I would give an off-limits mission. One wish has already been fulfilled. I'm very curious and afraid to see what his second and third wish will be. Okay, when do we leave? I asked calmly. I didn't think you would react so calmly to this. No, I just come to my senses quickly. So, what's up? Well, I guess after we pack and get dressed. Okay, I'll come to you, I smiled and waved to her. I'll see you then. What am I going to wear? I rummaged through my closet and thought out loud, even though I knew it wouldn't do me any good. I was wearing jeans and a baggy t-shirt, but I didn't think it was appropriate for a date. What do you think of this? It wasn't a very short skirt, which went very well with the blouse I usually wear on vacation. Yes, I think I'll wear it. Then I'll wear low shoes on my feet. Yes, it's decided. Not a bad choice, I said to myself. I was wearing a white shirt with black jeans and blue sneakers on my feet. Well, time to go out. Wow, I exclaimed when I saw her outfit. It was really beautiful, not to mention the girl's figure, which suited her very well. You look great. Thank you, you look very pretty too, she replied a little embarrassed. She is so cute I could squeeze her. So you're over 30, don't say that, go to jail. But I'm just a 17-year-old teenager now, so it doesn't matter. So, come on, okay. I shook her hand. Yeah. He took my hand and we went for a walk. Well, a couple of hours off, I said to myself and smiled. Walking with Mina. Part 2. We had a great time going to different stores and enjoying each other's company, already holding hands. Mina is a very nice person, I think I'm starting to like her. Ah yes, how can you not look at her unusual eyes with yellow pupils? Although it's very unusual, but people are attracted to unusual things, aren't they? Rimuru, let's go to this store. The pink-haired girl pointed her finger at the Dorian's Cafe sign. Of course, I smiled my most elegant smile. What a beauty she is, after all. Seeing my gaze, which had been burning me for a while, she was embarrassed, of course, and looking around asked, "Is something wrong?" Which snapped me out of my trance. "Everything is fine," I said and smiled again. The restaurant was ordinary. Simple tables, shelves, simple signs with the names of the dishes. It brought back memories. I remember that after a hard day's work, I didn't usually go straight home. I would go to these kinds of places and sit there for an hour or more, trying to relax and read manga while eating something delicious. Remembering those meals, my stomach would respond accordingly to my needs. "Looks like someone wants a snack," laughed Mina. I scratched the back of my neck and smiled stupidly. It's been a long time since I've been to a place like this, I thought. We grabbed our food and sat down at a free table. "Ah, that was great." Mina rejoiced when we got back. "Sure, you have so many things to buy." I grumbled, because all the way back I had to carry all that heavy stuff on my back, and she was hanging on me and asking me to carry her. No, I'm very strong and all, but sometimes even tough guys like me need a break. After I get all this stuff out of here, I'm going to lie down on the cot. Okay. My second wish. Damn. Oh shit, I forgot my second wish. I wonder what he's going to wish for. "Help me unpack these bags," she whispered in a sweet voice, pointing to a huge mountain of groceries. "I feel like I'm going to get myself into a right mess." "There it is," Ishido exclaimed, pulling a strange object out of the pile. "Do you know what this thing is for?" "Let me think about it." I scratched my chin thoughtfully. "Ah. It's for cutting meat. Some kind of butcher's knife." I said my guess, for which I received a sharp tug of the ear. "For what?" "It's not a butcher knife, it's actually a nail file." "What makes you think it's a knife?" "Well, a lot of things look one way but are for something else, so I thought it was a butcher's tool." Creative thinking, you know, I started to explain with a smart look, pulling something else out of my bag, "but I can tell you about this one. It's a gun, and not just any gun, it has special scientific cartridges." And I got another slap in the face. "It's a soap gun, you fool. How could you even think of such a thing? You've never seen an ad or been in a store before." Of course I have. A couple of times. I can't tell you that in my previous life I was so busy working that I didn't have time to go to stores, so I would order everything home. A couple of times. He inhaled, trying to calm himself, and then said, "Since you're so irascible, I'll take you shopping a couple more times." I started to protest, but he stopped me. "I don't take no for an answer, I've already said what I had to say." "What is this?" I asked, pulling from some box, but she had time to answer me, because the doorbell rang, signifying the alarm clock in the dorm building. "Oh, I guess I'll have to go." I got up and walked to the door. "Wait, you haven't gotten your wish yet." "I guess I'll have to do it tomorrow, the examiner won't be long." I was about to leave, but she pushed me inside and pinned me to the floor. "Attention. No way, kitten," she, having let go, ran her finger across my chest and looking into my eyes let out a giggle. "Third wish, kitten." There was a third wish. A third fucking wish. Wait. Mercy. I got out from under her and started crawling in the opposite direction, very embarrassed. "What do you want?" Well, as if you didn't know, Rimuru," she crawled towards me blushing, playfully pulling me into a state of arousal I had long since forgotten. "About what?" "Stop it. Don't come closer." I didn't utter the next words, because she silenced me with a kiss. That kiss. It was very unskillful, but it was clear that she'd put all her feelings into it. So much so that I could taste it on her tongue. Oh wait a minute. When I broke away from her, I looked into those tantalizing, lustful eyes, and her pretty red face in general. "You've had too much to drink, Mina." "Are you sure about that? Where did you get so drunk?" "Rimuru, I have many things to tell you. I fell in love with you almost from the first time I saw you. You walked me home. The rest of the time I spent without you was so boring, so ordinary to me. I thought about you all the time. I thought, what if? And I knew right away what that feeling was. And I drank in that restaurant for one reason. I just needed the courage to get over myself and confess to you at last. But what if? Once again, I couldn't finish. I kissed her back and put my hands on her waist, pulling her closer. Mina and I lay down. I don't know why they didn't come that night, because even though we tried not to make noise, the moaning was still very audible. Maybe that's why they didn't come. Shit. Now I'm embarrassed to leave their room. But that doesn't seem to be necessary yet, I said to myself and rolled onto my side and put my arms around her waist. She smiled in her sleep. I have a feeling things won't go back to the way they were. I hope so. Class A, may I introduce our new student? Eraserhead spoke in a monotone voice. Please introduce yourselves. My name is Toru. I like decent, honest people. I hate upstarts. Nice to meet you, I said and smiled. The girls in the class cried out in admiration, to which Mina just snorted arrogantly. Is she jealous? Well, Toru, please pick an empty seat next to someone and sit down. I walked over to Ashido and sat next to her under the numerous stairs. The pink-haired girl smiled at me and I returned the favor. It had only been a week since we had started dating and the academy vacations had already passed, but we were already getting along so well that we understood each other. During this time, I was able to finally realize my own feelings. I love that cute girl with the horns, and I love her madly. I had never felt this way before. And now I realized what my coworkers were talking about when they told me about their other halves. I was hot and cold, my heart was pounding, my breath was coming in and out, I was so beautiful. Oh, yes, I know what you are talking about. It is an incredible experience. I will cherish this relationship like the apple of my eye. Toru. Mina whispered my name, and apparently not for the first time. Huh. Yes. What? I finally woke up from my trance. How do you do this example? There are equations, logarithms, functions, formulas, I don't understand anything. Can you help me? She looked at me with puppy dog eyes, to which I smiled. Yeah, sure, you can be sure, honey. I walked over to her and started explaining the subject. After working out a couple of examples with me, she tried to do it on her own and, oddly enough, succeeded. I'm proud. And anyway, why does the Hero Academy put so much emphasis on mathematics? Although, it will be very useful for the boys' thinking. The next few lessons at this institution went on as usual. We met Midoriya at recess and chatted with him for a while. He congratulated us on the beginning of our relationship and wished us well. I casually asked him if he had a girlfriend, or anyone in mind, and he blushingly replied that he was dating a cheerleader, Mei Hatsume. Remembering her, I mentally whistled. She was a good choice, she had a good figure, good shape and a pretty face. We went back to the hostel. My girlfriend started preparing our food, and I got to work on the laptop. After all, we have to move, so as not to disturb our neighbors, and I've already said that I don't want to sit on the academy director's neck. And I have no money problems, for which I thank myself. I earned money by accident, oddly enough. Once I was surfing some website and came across some slot machines, into which out of pure interest I threw a couple of coins. What was my surprise when the next day, walking in there I saw a huge amount of money in the account. All that was left was to pick up a floor. Epilogue. 4 more months of life in this world passed. Everyone was happy and excited. But sad emotions were also felt. Great, you really lived in this world before you were reborn. Benimaru and Shuna couldn't help but wonder about this world, especially the fact that there is no magic in this world, except for me. Yes, I have lived in one, and please stop calling me great, we have discussed this before. It was then that Raphael informed me that a way had been found to return to my previous world. Oh, how happy I was when I told my friends I couldn't call them minions. However, I could not say that Mina was happy about it. I comforted her for a long time, although she was also very sorry to leave this world. It was then that she told me she was pregnant and asked me if I could leave her alone. How glad I was that everything went well then. To have sent a separate part of me into that world and to have made sure that the end point was right and that I could come back. At that time I was very worried, because the question was whether I could return to my dear girlfriend and my dear friends, and in the last minutes of waiting I almost lost hope that I could return a part of myself. I was even already thinking about not going back and staying here with my Rosavlaska and my friends. Did I mention how glad I was that everything had turned out well? I said goodbye to everyone, telling them not to mess around without me, and I also threatened to personally strangle anyone who laid a finger on my girlfriend. I promised my girlfriend that I would visit her and my friends once every 3 days. I take this schedule even more seriously than my work schedule in my past life. "We'll be back, don't be like that," were our last words before entering the gate. Oh, what a cheerful welcome my staff gave me. I ate so much that I couldn't walk properly for about 5 hours. Still, I visited my friends and Min as promised. On one of those visits, I proposed to my then girlfriend. Why then? Because now she's not my girlfriend, she's my wife, ha 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 ha. Ahem, I got carried away and wrote a lot of unnecessary stuff here, but oh well. And they lived happily ever after. Did you think I was going to say that? Well, no. After celebrating my return with my subordinates, they sat me down at the table and I had to solve absolutely every case that had been here for 8 months, waiting for me, thanks to Rigurd for solving some of them, for which I am very grateful. But I am sure that now all the bad stuff is behind me and everything will get better. I will continue to visit my wife a little more often, God willing she won't be offended. I thought the rumors about the fickle and resentful mood of girls during pregnancy were nothing but myths. But no. So it's best not to give Ming any trouble. Hey, and yet I love her and hope to be a good father to the baby. I put a period and closed the book. Great. Rigurd came through the door, and after I put aside my notebook, where I was writing down some of the events of my life, he continued. The rulers of all the allied countries came to celebrate your return and to discuss some minor matters. And here come the others, now only Milam is missing for more chaos, I thought, as I immediately felt a familiar aura approaching and a loud rumbling. Well, tell them I'll be out soon, you can go, I exhaled. And before leaving among the people, I wanted to do something. Boom bam. A couple of spells and sorcery and there's Veldora on the loose. Not in her dragon form, but in her human form, but no matter. When I went out to meet them, I thanked them for their congratulations on my return and introduced them to my old dragon friend. To say they were all surprised is putting it mildly. That day we all drank and ate and danced and had fun and all wished them well for the future. It was a normal but interesting day, everything was going well, and Rimuru hoped that things would continue to go just as well, and maybe even better. The end.